Everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Varun Kaushal and I am a legal intern at LEXIS and Company. Today I am going to discuss about stressors faced by national guardians. A law enforcer is a servant who protects the public from evils while also having the skill and courage to fight in battle. Law enforcement jobs are challenging as well as hazardous in multiple ways. The officials are often mandated to respond to and solve diverse violent situations for internal to external peace of a country. Thereby, they may often be pressured to apply deadly force to resolve such dangerous incidents effectively. However, the coin has two sides. Officers are called upon to save and protect victims of crimes to, for example, battered women, abused children, who resemble them to as compassionate guardians too. It may be inferred that law enforcers as frontline professionals undertake a dual role, that of the Justice League and that of the social worker, especially which has brought into the limelight in the course of this pandemic of 2020. These officials are always expected to carry out well and make the right choice even under severe stress. The government, the higher authorities, and the public in general pressurize the official not only to be healthy but also to hold high overall performance levels in the line of duty. As cited above, during the work shifts, officers are expected not only to use force to arrest a criminal, however, additionally to suppress certain feelings when responding to calls for service. However, when we ought to take into account is that they too are humans and that they have their very own personal and family lives to take into account. At the end of their shift, they return back home and they have to adapt to the roles of parent, spouse, sibling, friend, and so on. In turn, their families expect them to behave as such and not as law enforcement officials. Therefore, it is supreme that the officials have the ability to transiting roles, hence identities, from legal lifestyles to personal lifestyles and vice versa. When people handle more than one role, they experience role strain and difficulty in meeting given roles demands. The officials are regularly acculturated into police way of life by the perception that they are supposed to be stronger than the rest of civilians because of their mandate to serve and shield the public, and above all to respond to critical incidents in which civilians lack the proper training and competency to respond on their own. The belief to be more potent and braver than ordinary civilians may help officers' survival on the street. However, it can also be antagonizing in conditions when officials want to ask for psychological, physical, or emotional help. One of the traditional ethos is that the concept law enforcers who are very skilled to combat violent forces are supposed to be robust physically and emotionally. Gender role conflicts are also a major concern. The idea that men are speculated to be tough, self-reliant, and independent comes with an intense price to law enforcers. Help-seeking behaviors, specifically those associated with mental health support, are incongruent to the traditional ethos of policing. Therefore, stress or trauma-associated troubles may emerge as destructive for male law enforcement officials' mental and physical fitness. So, what are the major stressors? Number one is organizational stressors. One of the most common stressors is the negative stress, in particular experienced in the workplace. As per the studies in psychology, stress and stressors are different for each individual, and the effect of the strain may be accompanied by negative physical or mental changes. The officials experience organizational pressure due to authoritarian supervisors, rapid shift rotation without days off, heavy workloads, and so forth. John Volanti, a research professor at State University of New York, has dedicated his research to examine the effect of work-associated stress and trauma on law enforcement officials' health. Volanti and co-workers have found empirical evidences that law enforcers have a higher chance of experiencing cardiovascular illness in comparison to the general population. Additional findings have indicated that officials also are at chance for elevated hypertension, glucose intolerance, and many more. Factors taking a toll on officers consist of data overload, having to adapt to new technologies, dealing with social media impacts and deceptions, and being under a high level of scrutiny even when off duty. Law enforcement today faces an unexpectedly moving landscape with demanding situations on each front. The pace of change is increasing. Incidents go from local to national in seconds, and the ramifications can be lasting. Reports by media regarding their flaws in crime solving can create more organizational pressures for immediate and accurate new type of crimes. Super technologies and evolving relationships with the communities are moving the very foundations of law enforcers' works. New tools and a brand new police strategy, one that goes past entirely enforcement or network engagement, are needed. But success at those modifications would require a shift to the culture and improvements in the running strategies or methods in their work's results. Next is mental stressors. The mental health of the offending officer plays a huge function in the criminal professional field. A 2019 study observed that officials who self-pronounce engaging in abusive police practices tended to have higher degrees of PTSD symptoms. It is feasible that officials with post-traumatic stress disorder from job-associated stressors and trauma may have an extended startle response, a bent towards suspicion, and issues with aggression. These tendencies could make it more like that they'll overreact and use lethal pressure when not necessary. However, it's also possible that engaging in excessive force affects in a sense of profound guilt and moral harm that in turn lead to PTSD. Some researchers theorize that traits of psychopathy, additionally referred to as antisocial personality disorder, are more familiar in law enforcement officials than the general population. Traits which include fearless dominance or cold-heartedness can be adaptive in dangerous or emotionally charged situations. It is unlikely that APD, which is very rare, ought to give an explanation for maximum police brutality cases. Personal issues experienced by them also increase the probability of them accomplishing excessive force, which include relationship troubles or different stressful life events. In conclusion, I'd like to say that law enforcement officers are never off duty. They are dedicated as public servants who are sworn to protect public safety at any time and place that the peace is threatened. They need all the help that they can get. They work for the country day and night to protect and preserve. Extreme stress and trauma are inherent to law enforcement workers. Although these officers are more resilient compared to the general population, they are human beings. Hence, the role of psychological support is essential for officers to maintain their health and high levels of job performance while in duty. Hence, it's our duty to help and support the officers in need. They are our heroes who risk their lives for the peaceful functioning of our country. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions regarding the video, please do ask in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel LEXCLIQ.